Hi, welcome to the Home Buyer Seminar. So your elect team, brokered by eXp Realty, is proud to present to you this home buying seminar for anyone interested in purchasing a home in North Carolina and not knowing where to begin. You're definitely in the right place. My name is Jenifer Salter. My husband, Brad Salter, and I are the co-founders of your elect team. We have amazing agents and a group of agents that have advanced designations, have certifications that go well beyond just being a realtor, and lots of experience. So some of our team members are going to present as well for the home buyer seminar. We have a great group of individuals that represent us on the team who are all very specialized and experienced in handling all real estate transactions. But I wanted just to take a moment to introduce you to those that would be speaking today. Stacy Sheely, she not only can handle all the real estate transactions, but she is known to be our land and farm acquisition girl. Jared Chambers will not be presenting right now, but he is excellent, has a big business background, and definitely analytical when it comes to the real estate world. Brandy Stockton, amazing, and has experienced it all, and she's very good at navigating even more difficult situations as well. We have Tracy Brown, who loves new construction. So when it comes to the ins and outs of new construction, that's definitely where a lot of her interests lie. And we have Lexi Serrano, who not only is a talented realtor, but also fluent in Espanol. So we can help a much wider range of clientele. We are going to go ahead and get started, and I'll let Brad take it from here.
Thanks, Jenifer. Let's talk about getting the pre-approval letter, which is important to do as one of your first steps in the home buying process. We have partnered with Bill McDade. He is an experienced local lender and also branch manager at Mortgage Solutions Financial. Unlike most lenders, he has no credit minimum for VA and USDA loans. He is also able to work with as low as a 500 credit score on FHA loans. He has 0% down payment options available as well. To get started, give him a call or follow the QR code to apply for a loan online. Some things to keep in mind. Once you've received loan approval, the lender will need additional documents. Some may include 2 years of tax returns, pay stubs, any alimony or child support, and current landlord or mortgage documents. If you are self-employed, different documentation may be required. At some point, you will need to obtain title and homeowner's insurance on your new home. Remember, job stability and credit history are important while getting a loan. Now let's talk about a few loan options that are available for you. You may choose between an adjustable rate mortgage, where interest rates start at a certain percentage and may increase, or best case scenario, decrease at a future date, or a fixed rate mortgage where the interest rate stays the same. Conventional loans are available, but may be more strict on requirements than an FHA loan. FHA loan options offer less stringent credit ratings and very low down payment options, which may be helpful to anyone not able to put more money down at first. VA loans are available to active duty, those in reserves, veterans, and qualifying spouses or family members. USDA loans are available in less populated areas and are also 100% financing. Of course, you also may be able to qualify for other 0% down payment loans as well. Let's begin with the steps to buying a home now that we have addressed the pre-approval. Jenifer will take it from here.
So the buyer's roadmap is really a very great visual to let you know the process from start to close. Obviously, you're doing the first step right now. You're meeting with a real estate professional, which is wonderful. It's going to be very, very important as you go through the process to have a skilled agent looking out for you. One of the big advantages in North Carolina is that buyers, in most cases, never have to pay $1 for representation of a buyer's agent. So it is crucially important that you have someone representing your best interests. Also, getting pre-approved. So before you even begin the process of looking, you really need to speak with a lender and get a pre-approval letter. In most cases, those last for 90 days. So you have 3 months. But the important part of this is to find out which loan types are not only best for you and your scenario, but also what your buying power is. That way we can start the looking process and touring homes. Once you've found a home that you absolutely love, your agent obviously is going to negotiate on your behalf, settle and agree on a contract, and then go through the process of inspections, due diligence, all the way to the closing table. So let's go ahead and continue. There are benefits of homeownership. You wouldn't be here if you didn't think so too. So just wanted to go over a few of them. There are many more, but typically, they found that the net worth of homeowners is 40 times more than renters. You also have this opportunity for tax deductions every year, which is such a huge benefit to individuals and families alike. You get preferential tax treatment for owning a home. And lastly, equity gain. So especially in our area right now, we have not only so many colleges in our area, so many tech advances, but we are consistently voted one of the top areas in the country to move. So for that, the values in homes continue to steadily increase over time, which in essence can allow equity to grow in your property, which is the profit margin of your home. I like this from National Association of Realtors. It's a great quote. The financial benefits of home ownership obviously is undeniable and certainly one of the easiest benefits to demonstrate. On a national level, home buyers who purchased a home 10 years ago have gained on average $225,000 in equity in their home if their home sold for average price. So when you think about that, I don't know any other investment where you can realize such great income earning potential as home ownership. You certainly don't get that if you're renting a property. So let's talk more about net worth. There are inheritance advantages of owning a home. As you know, in a rental, there is none of that. So you can't pass on a rental property to your children or to your friends or family or whoever you'd like. When you own a home, there are inheritance advantages. So you can leave that property to family, friends, whoever you choose. There's more flexibility and freedom. When you live in a home, you can certainly renovate, upgrade, make changes and alterations to the property to suit more of what you're looking for, but also increase that profit margin. A lot of times renters not only are not able to do that, but again, it wouldn't benefit them. It would only benefit the landlord. You can control your monthly payment when you own a home. So when you own a home, you know what your payments are going to be. When you rent a home, you can almost be guaranteed that at the end of the year, there's going to be a price increase because rent prices do not go down. They only can go up. So that is something that a lot of renters struggle with, is not feeling that stability with what their rent is going to be the following year. There's also community advantages, and I wanted to talk more about that. But first, I wanted to show you what was said about community advantages. So again, the National Association of Realtors said that the community benefits of home ownership can take obviously many forms, but it's been found that owners are more likely to upkeep their homes, the yards, which in essence raise property values and of course the impression of the community and neighborhood. Living in one place for a longer time, it also creates more of a sense of community and more investment in that community. So if you think about it, when you're in a rental, there's less desire to upkeep the property because the property's not yours. When the house needs painting on the outside or when the outside needs to be freshened up, there's very little incentive to do so because it's coming out of your pocket and you're not realizing the benefit. Whereas for a home, not only do you get the benefit of that, you get to enjoy it, but that money is actually going towards something and being put right back into your home. So now I'm going to let Brandy take it from here.
Thanks, Jen. Hi, everyone. My name is Brandy Stockton, and I'll be discussing connecting with a realtor. The first thing we're going to discuss is North Carolina buyer's agent, and what does that relationship and that experience look like of working with a buyer's agent here in North Carolina. I'm going to go over at a high level some of these items, and then I'll dive deep into just a couple of them. You'll get some additional information as the presentation continues from some of the other agents. So the first thing that you can expect when working with the buyer's agent in North Carolina is the agent should be an expert in the field, in the local market. They'll be an advocate for their clients. Also, when it comes to touring homes, they'll help you identify any red flags that may show up on the property. Also, they will help you navigate in negotiations. They will also assist you in coordinating and attending inspections in your place if needed. Also, they'll help you execute requests and any kind of contract amendments. Also, they'll help you schedule closing, and then it'll go beyond that. It'll be more than just a closing, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. So the first thing that I'll expand on is that the agent will be an expert in the local market. In essence, they should be able to tell you whether it's a buyer or seller's market. For example, in early 2022, as everyone may know, we were experiencing a very, very, very heavy-weighted seller's market, where now, since the interest rates have increased a few times over the past few months, it's definitely transitioning to be a buyer's market. Houses are sitting on the market a little bit longer than what they did before, giving the buyer a little bit more flexibility and buying power. Advocate for the clients. So an agent will 100% be the advocate for their clients. And what this looks like is they're going to go to bat for you. They'll be your voice. They'll help you through negotiations to make sure that all your wants and needs are clear, and will advise you on any rules and regulations within our expertise. Anything that you need or have questions on can be directed to your agent, and if they don't know the answer, they will definitely find out and direct you accordingly. Now, I can't speak for other agents, but for yet agents, and especially me, I love questions. I love to ask them. I love to answer them. And so ask me any questions and I'll be totally happy to answer them, or at least find you the answer if I don't know them. The next thing is touring homes and identifying red flags. So Lexi will talk a little bit more about this coming up, but in terms of touring homes, a buyer's agent, especially a yet agent, doesn't just unlock the door. We go into a little bit more deeper tour and looking for red flags on the property that may influence your decision on whether or not to move forward with an offer on that property. And also navigating negotiations. So a yet agent is going to bat for you. So things that are of interest to you, of priority in the sense of maybe closing, a quicker closing date is important to you, or maybe having an extended time to move in. So you need a longer closing date is important to you. Whatever it is, or maybe less due diligence. Maybe you want seller concessions, which is money towards closing costs. Whatever your desire is, your yet agent will help you identify that and put that into the offer to make sure that during the negotiation process that it is addressed. Coordinating and attending inspections. So our yet agents can also do that for you as well. So we can schedule the inspections. We can also attend in your place or attend along with you. The one exception is home inspections. Your agent should always be there with you during your home inspections. Also, executing requests and contract amendments. There's a lot of paperwork that goes into buying a house, and your agent should make sure that everybody signs where they're supposed to sign, when they're supposed to sign. There's a lot of time-sensitive documents that need to be addressed there, and your agent will definitely help you navigate those waters. And it doesn't just stop at closing. So beyond closing, we're not just helping you buy a house. We're helping you, and we're building a relationship when it comes to buying a house. So we don't just say goodbye at the closing table. We go beyond. We're checking on you afterwards, 6 months after the fact. So just to make sure that everything's going okay. And if you have any follow-up questions, we're definitely there to help. All right. Next thing we're going to talk about is refining your search. So in your packet that you received, there is a home search tool that you can go in and navigate and put in your search criteria. So if you're looking for maybe minimum 3-bedroom or 2-bath or a master on the first floor, this is a tool that will help you refine that search, tweak your search, and then it'll pull up a search based on that criteria for you. In addition to utilizing this tool, your agent can also create a search for you based on your criteria to help make sure that you found the right property for you. All right. And then I will turn it over to Lexi.
Thank you, Brandy. Now we're going to talk about my favorite part of the process, which is touring properties. I am a little bit of a shopaholic. So, now that you have been pre-approved with a lender, so we know your budget and we've gone through all the things that you are looking for in a home, and you've been looking at some of the houses online on my website, now it's time to physically go see the properties that really interest you. Now, as the buyer, what we find most of the time is buyers are going in and they're looking at the color of the wall, the layout of the house, the size of the rooms. Does your furniture fit? Does it work for what you need? But as agents, skilled agents like you have with your elect team, we're going to be looking for any kind of red flags that we might have to consider before placing any kind of offer on the home. Okay, so we might be looking at cracks in the foundation or in the walls that might be an indication of structural issues with the house. We might be looking to see if there's any stains in the ceiling or underneath the cabinets, to see if there's any leaks, water leaks in the roof or pipes or anything like that. We're also going to be looking maybe to check if the lights or fans are working properly, or if any of those kinds of things work. And we're also going to be looking, for example, I like to check the garage doors. A lot of the times those won't be taken care of properly, and you can tell just by opening and closing whether they're working properly or not. So we're going to be looking at all of those things and taking those into consideration when we find a home that you might consider putting an offer on. And basically, our job is to really put your interest first and making sure that this is going to be a decision that you have all the facts about before making, okay? So if you like it, if you love it, if you got to have it, we're going to put an offer on it. So offers and negotiations. Now, the reason why we talk about these hand in hand is because sometimes making an offer is not black or white. It's not take it or leave it. A lot of times, especially in this market, there's going to be a little bit of back and forth between the buyer and the seller. And of course, all the agents involved before an offer is finally accepted and we go under contract. So essentially, when you make an offer on the home, there's a few things that we're going to consider before placing that offer. Number one is we're going to be looking at comps in the area. So the comps are going to be just basically other houses that are similar in style or size or location that are selling, and we're going to be looking at the price. Now, the wonderful thing about this market is that buyers have a lot more leverage and are able to really take the time to consider these things. A year ago, it didn't matter what the market was selling for, right? It was basically how much money do you have? What's the most you can put on this? Because when you had dozens and dozens of offers, you had to come in high to be competitive. So thankfully right now, like I said, the market is not looking that way. Definitely gives us a little bit more leverage to be able to consider what the market is saying when we place an offer. So we're going to be looking at comps in the area. We're also going to be considering the condition of the home as compared to the comps. So obviously a house that has been upgraded to the T, is not going to be the same as a house that maybe hasn't been touched since 1960, right? So we're going to consider those. We're also going to consider time on the market. Now, time on the market could be an indication that the seller is more motivated. Maybe they're getting a little antsy. Also, there is more room, generally speaking, to negotiate when a house has been sitting on the market longer. Okay, the last thing we are going to consider when we are going to make that offer is definitely your budget. And the reason why I say that, again, we talked about the pre-approval earlier. We do not want to overextend you on your buying power. So we're going to consider that and make sure that the offer is goes with what you can afford. Okay, so once you place the offer and the seller has the offer, they have three options. They can either accept your offer, and that means woohoo, yay, you're under contract, moving forward. They can also say no to your offer. They can reject it, and that is going to be either in the form of an official rejection, which is going to come in writing, or it could just be like silence, which is also another way that they could just not even bother to respond to it. Now, if that's the case and you are ready to move on to another house, we definitely want to make sure that that offer is off the table so we can back out of it if they don't respond. And the third thing that may and oftentimes does happen is that the seller likes some of your offer. They're interested, but there's something that they really want to push, and so they will maybe come in with something called a counter offer. And so when you receive a counter offer, this is when we are going to get into what we call negotiations. So you have the option to, again, just like the seller did, accept, reject, or counter. And this is what we're going to consider when we are looking at the counter offer. We're going to consider all the different terms. So a counter offer or an offer is going to have more than just the purchase price, right? So that's one term, is the purchase price. But there's also how much the due diligence fee is, which we're going to talk about later, how much the earnest monies is, if there is one. When is the closing date? How long is the due diligence period? Are you asking for personal property like the refrigerator, washer, dryer, or the shed out back? Who is the closing attorney, and all these things. So all of this is part of the terms of the offer, and so all of that can be negotiated. The other thing that you're going to consider is what is your desire of the home. So if you really, this is a house, that this is the one for you, you cannot look at another house, then we might consider, just accepting what they want and going from there. Whereas if you feel like, well, this home could be the one, but I don't want it that bad for this price, we could just, reject it and move on. If you still want it, but you want to, consider some of these, like I said, those terms, then we might come in and just do a counter to the counter offer. And this whole process might go back and forth a few times. A lot of times it's not in writing, but it happens verbally between the agents. And then once we have come to a meeting of the minds and agreement, then everybody signs and we are good to go and we are under contract. And so the next part is going to be my friend Stacy, and she's going to talk to you guys about, once we're under contract, what is due diligence and what are earnest monies.
Hi. Well, thank you, Lexi. All right. So on to due diligence and earnest money. The due diligence and earnest money are two separate parts of your offer to purchase. In short, and I'll get to more details later, so hold tight, your due diligence buys you time to get your inspections on the property completed. So what you're buying is time with your due diligence money. Earnest money shows the buyer how much skin in the game that you have available for your purchase. So it helps both parts of them help your offer to purchase get accepted. In this slide, we're going to talk about more detail what due diligence and earnest money are. So both the due diligence and the earnest money are due as soon as possible after your offer is accepted. Due diligence is due immediately. So be sure you're ready to write and deliver that check or send your due diligence through an e-transfer service on the same day as the acceptance. This portion of your offer to purchase goes directly to the seller and is non-refundable. Non-refundable. Remember that. It's important. Your earnest money, or EMD, is due to your closing attorney and should be sent as soon as possible. This portion is refundable if you decide that you no longer want to buy the property and if you back out of the contract before 5 p.m. on the last day of your due diligence period. This part is really important, so you're going to want to save that date and that time, because if you want to back out of your contract, you can get your earnest money back. So a little bit more about your due diligence. The due diligence can most easily be understood as a short-term lease of the property. Again, it is non-refundable. This due diligence buys you the time that you need to schedule your inspections, get your surveys, and run your tests. With residential, it can be shorter time frame. With land, it can be a rather long period of time, and it depends on the availability of the surveyors, the county soil testers for perk tests, and other special conditions for each individual property. Next up, your earnest money. In layman's terms, earnest money, or EMD, supports your offer by showing the seller that you are this much interested in the property. It gets paid to and held by your closing attorney. This dollar amount is also, just like with the due diligence, about 1% of the purchase price. EMD is refundable if you back away from the purchase before 5 p.m., end of day of the due diligence period. And I'm stressing this again because it's a really important time frame to keep track of. Now, what happens to the EMD and the DD, due diligence, money, at the end of your transaction? Well, both of them get paid into your purchase price. All of it gets together, it gets deducted so that you're not paying those fees again. So it counts towards a purchase when you go to close. Now, I'm going to send you over to my friend Tracy.
Thank you, Stacy. Let's talk about the due diligence period. After you sign your contract, your due diligence period will begin. Now is the time to do some deep research on your new home. This period typically takes about 2 weeks. As your buyer's agent, I will help you determine which services you would like to utilize to learn more about your new home. You may choose to have a home inspection or a septic or well inspection if your property has these features. You may want to have a land survey of your property. During this period, you will also choose your closing attorney and set up your home owner's insurance. With the help of our team, we can help you determine the best vendors that can provide these services for you. Another thing that happens during your due diligence period, in most cases, if you have a home loan, your lender will schedule an appraisal of your home. Your closing date will also be scheduled. As your buyer's agent, I will help you with the scheduling of these services along with attending the inspections. Depending on the market and offer negotiated, we will determine possible repair requests or other changes to submit to the sellers to ensure that you receive the best offer. Now, let's look a little more at home inspections. Inspections are not required, but are highly recommended. One exception is a VA loan, which will require a pest inspection. Our team will help guide you to determine which inspections you wish to have completed. Typically, home inspections can vary in price based on the age and size of the property and the type of inspection. Here are some estimated costs of some of the most common inspections. Be prepared to understand that most home inspection reports are around 40 to 60 pages long. However, these are not to-do lists. Instead, they help you to understand your home better. We will work together to determine if there are any actions you would like from the seller or if we need to negotiate any additional terms of the sale. Now I'm going to turn it over to Jenifer to talk about the closing and beyond.
Thanks, Tracy. So let's talk about closing and beyond. So now that we have reached the closing table, basically that's the day that you sign your new deed, you sign the rest of any lender documents that you have, and basically you're committing to your home legally. Once everything has been completed and all the state-specific documents are signed and signed by the attorney, then at that point, the deed to your home is recorded with whatever county you're purchasing in. Once the home is actually recorded with the county, at that time, your keys are dispersed and the home is yours. So congratulations. Now, beyond the closing table, there are many reasons that you and your real estate agent should stay in contact. So now that you have gone to the closing table, sometimes there might be things once you're in your home that you have questions about. Feel free to reach out to your agent and we can try to get those answers from you, either from the other agent or the last owners in the property. Also, we are there to provide a list of vendor referrals for plumbers and painters and just different contractors you may need for your new home. We'd also love to keep in touch, see what you've done with the home. And of course, a lot of times once we've earned your trust, a lot of times we'll be given referrals to your friends and family who are also looking for real estate needs. So don't feel like the relationship is over once you've gotten to the closing table. Have a great one.